Hey. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Bands podcast. I'm your girl, Tiffany Nicole, and that is Lash Trace.
What up, y'all?
And this week, we are here with some guys from Ancestry Lands. And I'm super excited because this is something different. This is something completely out of our wheelhouse. We met you guys, we didn't meet you, we met Philip at the Melanin Market. And I was like, we got to be on the podcast. Yeah. So I'm going to step back and let you guys introduce yourselves and what Ancestry Lands is, because this is an awesome concept.
It's very different.
Yes, very different.
Our audience has never heard anything like this unless they
heard of you guys before.
Right, exactly. Tell us, please. First, tell us who you are, and then tell us all about Ancestry.
All right, so I'm Eric Kennedy. I'm currently the postage manager for Ancestry Lands and de facto kind of like IT guy with my background. And then,
I'm Philip Davis. I'm the owner and founder of Ancestry Lands. I've been doing Ancestry Lands for about maybe 4 years now. So originally I was up in Northern California for a while as a nurse, been a nurse for 20 years, and we had the big fires that happened that caused us to evacuate, and a lot of homes were burned down. So just really quick and short, I saw that the value of the land was selling, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people were rebuilding. Traveling through the U.S. on an RV with my wife and 2 kids, we saw these signs for land for sale, and I said, this is something that is really interesting, and eventually humans will populate enough and reach out to all these areas and land. Historically, my grandfather back in the early mid-1900s, he had actually in the South Virginia, where I'm originally from, he actually built his house on a 1/4-acre lot from the ground up that I actually grew up in as a child. This is a black Southern man from North Carolina that bought a piece of property, did not have a high school education, and that house still stands today. That I, as a baby, was breastfeeding in myself, and that was a legacy factor. Fast forward to my father, who has now built his 4th house on a plot of land in a development and down in Florida, which I went down there and I see all this development happening now. There's such a big demand in land, and I thought it was something that definitely can create a legacy. So that's how Ancestry Lands was pretty much started. The idea of ancestry, us being the ancestors that we are connected to, we pass that land down and create a legacy through ownership. And that's Ancestry Lands. Yeah, big time.
Clap for that.
Absolutely.
That's something to clap for, because number one, I just want to thank you for creating Ancestry Lands. It's very necessary for our people, and it's just very necessary for us to understand the value of land, not just the financial value of land, but the historical value of the land, as far as our culture, and just a bridge between generations. That's what houses do. They bridge generations. The same way, like you say, you grew up in a house, your parents raised you in that house, or somebody raised you in that same house that you grew up in. So they might have been they might have had a different experience with that house than you, but it's still a part of everybody's growing. Yeah. And it just connects generations. It really does. Yeah. So I just want to thank you for creating something like that to help people understand there's different ways there's different values to property and land, and we got to understand that.
Absolutely. One of the bigger things that I experience is that, as far as African Americans, we've always been landowners. And when we got pushed to the big major cities to go there for jobs, what we left behind was the land ownership. We lost that disconnect. And that was something that throughout time, we didn't take value of, was that ownership. So now we're ownership in voting blocks, but the real power is in the land, because real estate is, throughout history and every culture, it's always been valued on what you own as land. And any apartment, any dwelling, building, even this building here, is built on land. And it doesn't, you see this place may change, buildings come up, buildings come down, but the value of the land stays the same. It actually grows more with time. So who owns the building is the person that really who owns the land.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I'm thinking, as you were speaking, I'm like, well, we own our house, but we don't own the land our house is on. If something was to happen, they can snatch our house because whoever owns the land can decide to do whatever they want to do with it.
Yeah.
So that's a crazy feeling.
Well, just to add to that too. So a lot of things what people don't capitalize. Like when you look at the McDonald's Corporation, right? McDonald's Corporation, yeah, they sell hamburgers, they got this, but they're one of the largest landowners in the fish industry.
Yes.
That documentary was crazy.
Yeah,
Watching that, I was like, wait, because McDonald's is all about real estate. It's not about
They are
French fries and
exactly.
hamburgers. It's about real
Real
estate. And I was like, whoa, that was different.
And to even add to that, when we talk about real estate value, you look at a company like Starbucks, right? Starbucks, whenever you see a Starbucks, the land value goes up when somebody plops a Starbucks down somewhere. So as far as a valuation tool, Starbucks itself, it sells itself as, hey, when we come into a land, we're going to increase the value of a property. So that's another thing.
Isn't that's crazy?
And we see that going on here.
I don't see too many places that have the effect that Starbucks has.
Well,
just to announce they're coming to a neighborhood. McDonald's doesn't do that.
No.
As a matter of fact, McDonald's might do the very opposite.
Appreciate it.
Because I know Chestnut Hill, when they were trying to put the McDonald's on Germantown Avenue, the people at Chestnut Hill were like, "Oh no, you're not putting no McDonald's up here."
It was there for a while, and that was going.
The riffraff.
Yep. 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 I know, like looking at the real estate, like we used to talk about real estate all the time. We found out that anytime you see a large development of big box stores popping up in areas, they're about to build some houses around here, because the big box store owners get the info before we get the info, saying, hey, this area right here is going to start being populated, so we're going to build some houses over here. So we need to get some land. That's my question. How do we get land from Ancestry Lands? How do we do this?
So my wife and I actually were the owners of all the properties that we sell. One of the differentiations that I've done with the business is that you have people like realtors or other land investors that they only sell property. They may take me as an owner and then sell it on behalf of me as a middleman. Ancestry Lands is about ownership, passing on ownership. I put my money where my mouth is. I have invested in an item that I believe in, that I know is sellable, and it's a product that I intend to hold or pass on. So what we're doing is offering the properties that we sell in right outside of LA area, because that area is growing. The pandemic pushed people out of LA and all the surrounding areas, but they still want access to LA. So you have this migration coming up through the South where millions of people are moving to, and that puts us, the community, if we can take hold of that ownership, as people who can make money and build capital and build wealth off of the people who want to come and move to these areas. So I always think of it like it being a crocodile. Crocodiles put themselves right where the migration comes through to get the biggest amount of food. We'll think the food is money, and we're the crocodiles. We need to put ourselves in positions to be able to acquire wealth. Now, you take that out to a greater community. If all of us here own multiple properties in one location, and we have economic issues that we need through in a pandemic, well, we all control the volume of what's being sold. You don't want to sell your property at $30,000. We all set it at $30,000. We have those night meetings at the barbershop, and we say as a community, as a group, as African Americans or any group at minority base, we can say we're going to set our market price, and now we control the market now. So when you're looking at dealing with politicians and you want things done for the community, they're looking at us as people who have power to control factors that they listen to. You don't want to sell ice and in a snowstorm. You want to be able to sell something that people that can grab their attention, and that's going to give us real power. Right. So we don't do credit checks. We don't do interest charges. We keep it very simple, because the business is built off creating owners, not off of putting you on long 10-year loans. Yeah. Our properties are less than a Benz, but they're more valuable than that in the fact that you can farm, commercial, do agricultural things, and these are in residential areas with McDonald's, post office, and it's in an actual city. And Mike Tyson has invested in 40 acres in that same city to do his business ventures out there. So, and Eric himself is a property owner. He's bought into that so he can have a multifamily unit to have doors that he owns in a unit. And that's the best part about it, is that you're doing $250 payments, $1,000 down. It's a contract that's signed, and I'm passing over ownership to people. I'm the owner passing over my ownership. The title is being passed down. You're handing a baton. You're actually showing your results and showing that work. And that's what our community needs. We don't need handouts and government checks. We need power. We need ownership. And if you don't own property, you're going to be owned as property. You know, and that's one of the.
That's a cool.
That's gonna be the title of this episode. You know, right, that right there.
Right.
Can you please drop that one more time?
Right, 'cause that was like, whoa.
If you don't own property, you will be owned as property. And that's, I mean, you think about how this country got started. That's how things began in here. It was all about what is considered property.
Yeah.
And as we moved to becoming independent, we didn't take back the ownership. We gave it away. We lost it for a job. We traded our time, our time for hours for money, and we didn't get back any ownership and power. So we're on 30 years on a bank loan, paying interest where we pay more than the loan is worth at the end of the day. We make the banks rich, and then we still get stuck with a house. By the time 30 years comes, you need to update it again. And we sell the homes and we lose the land ownership, and we don't hold on anything that is the real power there. You know, and all these properties that we own are in an area that is developing, is growing. The real estate values are growing since I've started. And that's what it is that you own the properties, but I'm still working, creating extra value along the way to increase your property worth, because I'm bringing more people into that city. So I'm growing it like nurturing a plant, but our people got to wake up and say, okay, there's a room for Jordans, but I got to make priority for ownership. This is something that you can feel, taste, and touch. It's not a stock where a company can run it into the ground. This is something that has been there and will be there after you. And you can taste, you can use the land, reuse it, make money off the land. You can rent it out, lease it out, and then you still own it. And that's the game that we're not seeing and we're not being taught, is that the game is in owning something and letting other people do the work and use it, and you still keep the title. So how does that help your children in the next recession, in the next economy? You have a child later on, they're going to college, they need this, but they own some land, and I come to them and say, hey, can I offer you 10 grand or 5 grand for your property? What does that do to help them out when they need that? When we're losing jobs or losing that?
For sure.
What do you have?
My brother has, I want to highlight some concept that he just said that's so very important. We're talking, he's alleviated the barriers of entry into land ownership.
Yeah, absolutely.
No credit checks, easy flexible payments. You know, make a simple down payment, and then here it is, you're on your way to building just foundational asset in your portfolio is land. And so I think that's one of the key things here.
I think I'd rather say I own land than I own doors.
Absolutely.
Like I feel like that makes I don't know, just makes a difference. So how much land can somebody get at one time? Is it how much you want, or is it like sectioned off?
No, so we have many different properties, all on ancestrylands.com, Ancestry Lands on YouTube, Facebook. We try to promote across the platforms depending on where you are. You may not have one social media platform, but we have them all there for you. We do drone videos of each property. The properties vary in size. They can be down to 10,000 square foot properties, which you can build about maybe 4,000 square foot of home on that residence. The good thing about this area is that California's made it so that way you can build a less than 2,000 square foot main home, live on that home, and then build a 1,200 square foot separate ADU or additional granny unit that's detached that you can rent out now. So not only does the land, you're buying the land, you can now create additional revenue while living up there. So now you have an ability to pay off a mortgage. And then you can have up to 2 smaller residents up there, but you're only allowed to build on 40% of the land. So we have from a 0.14 acre all the way up to, 2 acres. I've had a 40, but someone came and bought that. But these are
about 40 acres.
Yeah,
wow.
He's trying to do is create a small development out of there in a kind of luxury development. Right? I mean, think about it. I have 40 acres, and I said, man, I've lived through my lifetime, my grandfather, and no one's given 40 acres in a mule, but it's not going to be given.
No,
you got to get it. So what I've done is said that I want to be, kind of a backdoor, because we're judged by credit, we're judged by everything, that is meant to keep us away from that goal. So now I've said, okay, as long as you can make the monthly payment, as long as you can make the down payment, I will give you the title to that land once you pay it off. But you gotta pay it off. So it's kind of a merit-based payment system where if you're making the payments, that's what you need. Everyone needs a helping hand, but who's helping out our people?
Yeah.
No one. They say they are, but when they get in the office,
It's different.
you know, they're doing different things, but it's not. They're not offering anything that you can pass on. And think about it: when you own land, you learn things about the land that you now can pass down. So it's not just land as an item or a product; it's land, the land experience, the land ownership that you're now passing down and educating your kids.
Right.
So now they're saying, my dad, my mom, like I said, my grandfather owned land, my father's bought and built homes on top of land, and it's like you start to get a sense of pride of who you are. People can't just tell you now. You don't have to identify with what's being pushed out there in the media to know who you are.
Sure.
Listen, man.
You're gonna need to have us back. We're looking at episode 2.
This is probably, well, not probably. This is absolutely one of the most value-filled
Yeah.
interviews we've ever done. We only on segment 1.
I know. Exactly. It's like,
This is crazy. Like, you know, when you running a business, the goal is to solve problems. You solve a lot of people's problems, you have a successful business. I can't figure out a bigger problem that you are solving by saying no credit check.
yeah. Yeah.
I can't figure out a bigger problem that you are solving by saying $1,000 down, easy payments.
Yeah.
Where is the barrier to entry?
Exactly.
There is no barrier to entry. Like you said, you just have to be serious.
Right.
And if you finish this simple task of making these payments, congratulations, you're a landowner. This is tremendous, man. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Things about what else blow your mind. Tell them about how when you say once you pay the land off, you have it as an asset. How you can use that as an equity or as when you want to go for a loan or whatever.
Right.
So like that. So
right.
You want to hit on that?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of times when, like, I've gone and looked at getting mortgages and things like that, they always ask you, you know, what collateral do you have? So you have the credit check. Can be, let's say everyone had an 800 credit check walking in, but what gets you what gets you the better interest rate? What gets you the better less points on your actual loan if you were looking at that aspect? Or even if you're going in to buy a conventional car, you now have land which the bank values. It's something that they look at. A car loses its value, depreciates, but they know if this land is in an area where people are migrating to, I'm seeing the property values go up, they now, it gives you something that the other person walking with credit, and 2 people walk in the store with great credit and $10,000. One has land, one doesn't. Someone just got another higher point, and they're looking at you as a business, as a person who has something of value that they want. You have extra collateral.
You have collateral.
Which means that you have bargaining power at the table. So we also don't just do the easy credit and no credit and the payments, which can be 65 months. We give you an opportunity to pay it at the cash price if you do it within 6 months.
What?
Oh.
So you can start the financing $1,000 down, $200 or $250 a month depending on the property, and we give you, say, okay, look, you can't pay the cash price. We'll give you 6 months if you can do it. If not, then you're going the full term until you pay off the balance in full. So again, everything is aimed at giving people who do not have an opportunity to become real estate owners a chance to own property that is not just somewhere, and this is a place where they have a hotel, golf course, you know, they have high school, middle school. You're in an area that's growing and developing, that's experiencing growth. We have 90 clients that are either have bought, or 50 of them have actually owned properties. And a lot of Hispanic clients are moving through that area and they want land. So why are we giving away an opportunity for another group to get ahead of us, to become landowners? Not that it's a competition, but we need to have our hand in that pot.
For sure. And we need to continue to do, that's why I'm glad you talked about coming back, because first of all, we would love to have you guys back. This is something that needs to be reiterated. This is something that needs to be talked about over and over again, and people need to understand, because there is no barrier to entry as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just so pleased with the fact that we were able to get you on here to talk about this. My wife and I are going to discuss buying, like, we buying.
Yeah.
Absolutely buying.
Yeah.
Like,
We're gonna bring it to our parents. We're gonna bring it to our parents.
Absolutely.
And our kids.
And
all
our
our
kids.
kids are grown.
Okay.
So our youngest is 22. So y'all need to get in on this.
Oh, yeah.
However much you can put in, because we own some land.
You said you had 90 clients?
I have 90 total contracts that I've done in the last 4 years.
Yeah, we can
I
take that
have
over.
65 open contracts of people who are making payments on land, which is completely doable and replicatable in the sense of when you're a landowner, you will get tons of mail for people who want to buy your land.
Yeah.
All the time as a landowner. I, as a land investor, get letters from other land investors, but we've had about 50 new owners created in the last 4 years that have just come from my method of doing that. And a lot of the clients, there are more of our people waking up and they're starting to get their hands in the pot. It's not just people in this area, but they're waking up and understanding that you don't need to own land where you live. You need to own land where the land is going to be of value.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
And where I picked that, I've been working there in 4 years, California City. In California, once I saw Mike was in there, I was like, man, this guy came. I would have sold him my 40 for less, right?
Right.
Just give me a big Mike.
Just
Yeah.
say him, Mike. That's
Right.
right.
And it's one of the bigger areas for gasoline production. Out of California, you're hour and a half away from the LA area, and it's about being in that path where people are coming up from the south and they're planting themselves at. This migration is happening, another great migration is happening, and we need to be the people who own property in that area where people are coming and saying, I want the land. Well, here's my price.
Yeah.
I once started selling this property in the typical property in this area I sold 4 years ago for about $4,000 to $5,000. The realtors are selling them for about 20 to 30. All our properties are under 20,000. That's a final price on payments.
Yeah, on payments.
Cash, 10 to 15. And again, you still get 6 months to do that. Now, you can't get a car that way. You can't get a house that no one's going to give you 6 months in that way. But again, it's all aimed at what we do is about giving that access, getting people a leg up to get ahead in the economy. What's happening now? And the people who want it are the people who are looking for that opportunity to be there, and we're presenting it to them. And it's a beautiful thing.
Oh,
you know?
my God. Do you guys go on a lot of podcasts and talk about this a lot?
No, we're starting our podcast run. This has been the first time that I think this year when we met you all at the Melanin Market, it's been the introduction for people seeing what we're doing and our message and things like that. And I think it just happened at the right time. But no, we're getting out there.
This is great.
It is.
This is
It
really
is.
good, man. We're gonna get to this next segment.
Much appreciated.
We're getting ready to get into my favorite segment.
Yes.
They already know Ninja Business. And since you guys have no credit check,
This kind of.
since you guys don't have any credit check, then I'm sure you've dealt with some ninja business. And we're going to get all into the ninja business. Please tell us about it. Not right now. When we come back, listen, y'all, stay locked in. This is the Entrepreneur Dance Podcast. We sit here with Ancestry Lands. Y'all are going to love this. I can't wait to get, oh my God. I'm like overwhelmed by excitement. This is crazy. So we will be back. And that's it. Stay tuned, y'all. And cut.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Philip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.